Updates on the 2020 presidential election continue. The first LGBTQ elected official makes strides in New York, and one of the strongest storms since 2013 hits the Philippines. This is OU Nightly. Hello, thanks for joining us for OU Nightly. I'm Sinclaire Jacobs.
And I'm Taylor Todd. We begin tonight with the historic race for the White House. There is still no firm answer on who the next president of the United States will be.
Let's take a look at the results as they stand right now. Former Vice President Joe Biden is ahead in the popular vote with 50.3% to 40.1% for President Donald Trump.
But of course, final election results are determined by the Electoral College vote. Biden has 253 and Trump 213, a total of 270 electoral. Biden got a late boost this afternoon when he was declared the winner in Wisconsin. CNN is still reporting all of the states you can see in gray right now as too close to call. CNN's Camilla Bernal has the latest on the numbers and ballots still being counted.
It's all come down to the battleground states, and Americans still wait for results in this historic election.
Every legal ballot will be counted in Georgia.
What's been happening here on the ground in Michigan, all throughout the state, are bipartisan groups of election workers tabulating those ballots effectively, methodically, and securely.
All eyes on one number: 270 electoral votes needed to claim the presidency. Millions of legally cast mail-in votes are still being counted in several key states that are too close to call, including Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania will have a fair election, and that election will be free of outside influences.
Early Wednesday morning, President Trump prematurely claiming victory while making a baseless allegation of fraud.
This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election.
Meanwhile, Biden is urging patience as each vote is counted.
As I've said all along, it's not my place or Donald Trump's place to declare who's won this election. That's the decision of the American people. Keep the faith, guys. We're going to win this.
In Wilmington, Delaware, I'm Camila Bernal reporting.
Late this afternoon, Biden and his running mate Kamala Harris held a news conference. Biden said he does expect to win the presidency, but he did not declare a victory. Around the same time, President Trump's campaign filed lawsuits and called for a recount in Michigan, which was called for Biden today. And in Pennsylvania, a state CNN currently says is too close to call. Look for the latest information on the election outcome on OU Nightly's Facebook page.
And we're going to go live now to Emma Sears, who's in Washington, D.C. and has a look on what's going on there. Emma?
We are live here at Black Lives Matter. As you can see behind me, there is a protest going on. Now, people here tonight are anti-President Trump. I gotta say, it's a very anxious atmosphere we have going on after last night President Trump held a press conference where he stated he was guaranteed to win. And all day today, he's been tweeting saying he is suing states and that he is filing lawsuits so that they can stop counting ballots. Now, I gotta say, besides this anxious atmosphere we feel tonight, overall, these protests have been extremely peaceful. Aside from something that happened earlier today, 3 people got stabbed about 6 blocks from here. These 3 people, police initially reported, were a part of the white supremacist group Proud Boys and were stabbed by Black Lives Matter protests. Now, police just released a statement saying they are under further investigation and they don't know if that's still the case and they are looking into it full-heartedly. Going back to you in the studio from Washington, D.C., Emma Sears.
Thanks, Emma. And records are continuing to be broken during this year's election. Sydney Baulier joins us in the News Center with some historic election info. Sydney?
Last night, in the midst of all the madness, we saw several historic elections around the country. In New York, Democrat Richie Torres won the race for New York's 15th congressional district. Torres is the first openly gay Afro-Latino elected into Congress.
Look, I take pride in becoming the first openly LGBTQ elected official from New York City. I often tell people, who would have thought the first openly LGBTQ elected official in New York City would come not from Chelsea or Hell's Kitchen, but from the South Bronx.
Torres will be sworn into office on January 6, 2021. And in Delaware, Democrat Sarah McBride took the Republican candidate in the 1st Congressional District. This makes Sarah the first elected transgender to serve as senator. She was also the first out transgender White House staff member years ago when she was an intern for Barack Obama. Her election win also makes her Delaware's first out LGBTQ member of the state legislature. In Taylor and Sinclair, David Andel of North Dakota passed away last month from coronavirus, but he still won his election for the state House of Reps. The local Republican Party will be in charge of filling the vacant seat until a special election. Back to you.
Thanks, Sydney.
And all eyes were on Central Oklahoma last night as one of the most competitive congressional races in the country took place in our own backyard. Madissen Lewis joins us with the results of the historic race. Madissen.
It was a successful night for the Republican Party in Oklahoma, with Stephanie Bice being named the winner of the District 5 congressional seat and defeating Democratic incumbent Kendra Horn. I had the chance to be at Bice's watch party last night when the news was announced. The crowd erupts with excitement as former state Senator Stephanie Bice defeats Democratic incumbent Kendra Horn for the U.S. House's 5th district seat. The race for the 5th seat is said to be the #1 take-back opportunity in the country for the Republican Party. Although it was a close race, Bice's victory means Republicans will take back control of the Central Oklahoma district after Kendra Horn flipped the seat in 2018, becoming the first Democrat to win it since the 1970s. While Bice lagged behind in the polls until the final hours of the race, her supporters remained optimistic and confident throughout the night. In an interview this morning, Bice discussed how a big topic of conversation with the next Congress will be health care and figuring out a way to move it into a more competitive environment and have price transparency and affordability. For now, we're live in Norman. Madissen Lewis, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Madissen.
And while it was an unpredictable election night, we so far have had cooperative weather for people at the polls.
And if there's one thing Americans can agree on the moment, it's the beautiful weather across the country. Reece joins us more with first weather. Reece.
Yeah, that's one thing the whole nation can agree on too, though it's warmer than average temperatures. You can see the Central Plains and the Midwest in those warmer yellow to orange colors. You can see the Pacific Northwest and Maine a little bit cooler, but I mean across the whole country for the next week or so, we're going to be having these warmer than average temperatures. The Southwest has a very high chance to be above average, but the whole country is going to be warmer than average. No blue on this forecast for the next November. And coming up, we'll have the warmer air mass to talk about, plenty of sunshine, and we'll see if and when it will cool down. Ladies, back to you at the studio.
Thanks, Reece. And Oklahoma has broken a record for number of people in hospital due to COVID-19. For the first time, there's been over 1,000 Oklahomans in the hospital with COVID. So many cases are severe that right now there in Oklahoma are only 8% of ICU beds available. We also know that there are 1,246 new cases in the state today, for a total of 15,927 active cases. And the state health department says that there are 17 new deaths today, making the death toll from COVID in Oklahoma to now 1,392. Medical experts say that this is not the first time for Oklahomans to let up an advice to wear a mask, in the public, to maintain a distance of at least 6 feet from each other, and to wash your hands frequently.
And it was a tight race last night for Oklahoma's District 6 state representative. We have more on the Norman Natives win when we return.
Plus, the United States has formally left the Paris Climate Agreement when OU Nightly continues. State Representative for District 46, Jacob Rosecrans, had a close race that came out with a victory. The public education activist won the re-election by 79 votes last night against Republican Nancy Sadigardi. Rosecrans thinks that this was a close race due to straight party voters, Trump being at the top of the ticket, and a dark money campaign against him.
And that's just kind of the nature of the Democratic Party right now. The more, the more blue and the more progressive Democratic Party gets across the nation, I think that the more that it's going to look different here in these red states.
Rosecrans says that he is not just a Democrat, that is, he is here to support all the voters in his district, no matter the party.
And the U.S. became the first country to withdraw from the Paris Climate Agreement. Libby Dean joins us more with the story. Libby.
Earlier today, the U.S. became the first country to officially exit the Paris Climate Agreement. This agreement, put in place 5 years ago, unites 189 countries in response to the global threat of climate change. President Trump announced the withdrawal back in June of 2017, but it takes at least a year to formally leave. The U.S. has the option to rejoin in the future. Rescues continue after Typhoon Goni slammed the Philippines over the weekend. The typhoon was the strongest this year, with wind speeds equivalent to a Category 5 hurricane, and killed at least 10 people, and it impacted more than 2 million. The heavy rainfall, flooding, and landslides made Goni one of the strongest storms to hit the Philippines since 2013. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Libby.
And Oklahoma made history last night with a historic win in the state legislature.
We have more
We have more on the new member of the State House of Representatives, and Reece joins us with another look at the weather.
Yeah, across the nation, we've had warmer temperatures across the state. We'll see why and the local Oklahoma forecast coming up. Welcome back to OU Nightly. Taking a look at Oklahoma City's skyline camera now. You can see a little bit of haze out there, a little bit of light clouds, but overall beautiful conditions. Mid-70s, again, mostly cloudy skies, winds out of the south, making it feel warmer, bringing us that Gulf air, a little more moist out there than we've seen in the past couple of weeks. And across the state, more of the same, 70 degrees, which is a little bit above average for this time of year. Guyman actually hit 80 today. So again, that warm trend is continuing across here. And the nation, it's very dry across the state. You can see Seattle is the only one with the Pacific Northwest with precipitation, but over here we got Eta, which is going to be pushing as a tropical depression right now on land in Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua. That's going to be making its way through, just skipping the Yucatan Peninsula before making its way up into Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic, and could be hitting the Keys Sunday afternoon. We'll have to keep an eye on that here at OU Nightly. But for all of us across the nation, you can see up here where these lines are narrower, that's where the jet stream is, and it is up in Canada right now, and that is why we are staying so warm across most of the country. You can see, especially in the southwest, much above average, before we have this ridge start to dip down a little bit, and that's going to be a cold front here in Oklahoma come Monday and to Tuesday. But with these warmer temperatures, we do have the allergy index to worry about. The grass, the trees, and the pollen are going to be a little bit up in the next couple of days as we have these warmer temperatures. But for tomorrow morning, low 50s, warming up into the 70s, 69 at 5 p.m., but plenty of sunshine to go around, and those southerly winds again making it feel a little bit warmer. And across the state, all 70s once again. You can see normal is 68 right now. That's about 5 to 10 degrees for all of the state, above average for this time of year. And for the 7-day forecast, you can see sunshine in 70s all the way in through the weekend. But Monday and Tuesday start to bring a little bit of cloud cover. And look at this, 68 for the low on Monday night into Tuesday. It's not going to cool down very much because the cold front that comes in the daytime on Tuesday is going to bring us the 52 degrees throughout the day on Tuesday. So we'll be keeping an eye on that here at OU Nightly. But for now, Sinclaire and Taylor, back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Reece. And although Oklahoma Republicans held their national office in the election last night, one Democrat made history in Oklahoma. State House District 88 elected Maury Turner, Oklahoma's first Muslim state legislator. Turner also became the first non-binary person to hold a state office in the U.S. After defeating the incumbent in the primaries, Turner got around 71% of the district's vote last night. LGBT activism groups across the nation say this win paves the way for all minority representation in government. Turner says her win reflects how the country and Oklahoma is changing.
I think that's one of the interesting and one of the best things about community organizing is that it only works because the people work, right? We are continuously filling the gaps that government has left for us. And we do so in a way that makes sure that everybody has a place to eat at this table.
Turner plans to tackle criminal justice reform and public education funding after she gets sworn in later this month. After over a month of being away, the Sooner football team is finally back for a home game.
That's right, and the Sooners will take on Kansas this weekend for hopefully another win. OU Nightly's John Barry has more on this week's games. John.
That's right, ladies. The Sooners are back at home this weekend and are continuing to bring the talent out of Texas and across the Red River. Stick around, sports is next. Welcome back to OU Nightly Sports. I'm John Barry. The Sooners football team is back in Norman this weekend to take on Kansas. Oklahoma is currently on a 15-game win streak against the Jayhawks going into this game. Kolby Terrell has more.
The last time the Sooners were at home, they lost to Kansas State. And COVID-19 may have canceled an OU homecoming, but after a long stretch away from Norman, the Sooners are ready to play at Gaylord Memorial Stadium once again.
I'm excited to certainly be back home. Been a while. I don't know that team's ever gone 6 straight weeks without or 6 weeks in between home games in a regular season. So certainly been a fun stretch. Though guys have played well, gotten a lot better throughout all these last several road games. Certainly really excited to get back. Play in front of our home fans. Hopefully they're excited to come watch this team play.
The Sooners haven't lost a game in November since 2014 and don't plan on losing that streak anytime soon, especially since Lincoln Riley is 15-0 in Championship November and OU is a 38-point favorite on Saturday. I'm Kolby Terrell, OU Nightly Sports.
And more good news for Oklahoma recruiting and more trouble for Texas. Not long after the Red River Showdown, Billy Bowman, a 4-star wide receiver from Deyton, decommitted from the Longhorns. Soon after, Bowman made the right decision and committed to the Sooners. And after an abrupt ending to last season and not getting a shot in the NCAA tournament, the Sooners are preparing for a different kind of year. For Coach Lon Kruger, this season is all about attitude, adjusting to whatever comes their way.
Disappointed by some things they missed out on, but they've we've talked early on. The big thing is from an attitude standpoint is how we respond and how we just remain flexible and adjust to whatever comes, and realize it's not going to be normal. It might not be fair to what the norm would be, but adjust and move on.
And after an abrupt ending to and it's Wine Wednesday, so you know what that means. It's time for Whiner of the Week. This week, it's another easy winner. Right up the road in Stillwater, the fans lost twice on Saturday. First, they watched their team squander a fourth-quarter lead against Texas and lose in overtime. Then they showed their class by throwing seat cushions and other debris on the horns. Players as they left the field, and a lot deserving winners this week, but I've had a long week, so I'm going to keep this bottle for myself. Back to you, ladies.
Thanks, John. That sounds like a Stillwater win to me.
And this year, people are getting ready to they're getting a jump on the holidays. So true, but it seems like everyone wants to get this year over with.
Yes.
And with so many people looking forward to the 2020 year, people are showing their spirit earlier than ever. We have more when OU Nightly continues.
I'm Deyton Deller at the OU Nightly Update Desk. Americans are still waiting as the 2020 presidential race's ballot counting continues. CNN projects Biden will win Michigan, advancing him to 253 electoral votes to President Trump's 213. Earlier this afternoon, Biden said he will not declare victory, but winning the presidency is in reach. That's it for now as Tracking the Race continues. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Deyton. And Halloween has passed. Thanksgiving is on deck, but Christmas is only 27 days away. And many people are looking forward to the end of 2020. And what better way to count it down with an advent calendar?
Love it.
Aldi grocery stores are now selling an assortment of more than 20 advent calendars.
Now these countdown calendars have options for everyone, having alcoholic and non-alcoholic options, as well as calendars for both children and pets. Advent calendars began in the 19th century, and though time has passed, these calendars are a great way to make the whole month of December fun. So let the countdown for the end of 2020 begin.
And now let's go back to Reece Cole with another look at our forecast. Reece.
We're looking at those wine advent calendars, but we don't see winter anywhere in sight. Plenty of sunshine throughout, 70s as we head into the weekend with those lows in the mid to high 50s, even 60 Sunday night into Monday. But Monday, Tuesday is what we're looking at. You see 72 Monday. We're only going to get down to 68 heading into Tuesday. And then Tuesday for the high throughout the day is going to be 52 degrees as a pretty strong cold front makes its way through. But overall, we're going to stay above average here in November and throughout the rest of the month. Now, ladies, back to you at the studio.
And thanks for tuning in to OU Nightly. We're live every weekday from Gaylord Hall on the campus of the University of Oklahoma.
We'll see you back here tomorrow night, live at 4:30. Good night.